Welcome to the Chamber of Horror.
Oh my god.
Hi everyone, it's Jilly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have Jake. Hi. And I also have Dominic. We haven't seen everyone in so long here. So we are here in St. Augustine, Florida today to go on the Ghost and Graveyards tour. So what it is they go through all these abandoned buildings in St. Augustine and they tell you about ghost stories and scary stories that actually are true. So today we're going to be going on the Ghost and Graveyards bus and we're going to take a look and listen to all the spooky stories.
Welcome aboard the Ghost and Gravestones tour. I'm David. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to be your driver tonight.
I'm scared.
We're going to ride around St. Augustine tonight, hear some ghost stories, see some cemeteries, go to some haunted buildings. Be good, creepy fun.
My name is Alexis and I am your ghost host this evening. Now as we roll along, we will be making 2 stops, the first of which is at Potter's Wax Museum, formerly home of the old drugstore. Then we will be going to the most haunted building here in St. Augustine, the old jail. Now in 1821, a supply ship from Havana, Cuba sailed out of the port and to St. Augustine, where it became moored on a sandbank for 2 days. Locals did not see what had happened, and it was revealed that not one man survived, not even the captain. Still, supplies are supplies. They pushed aside the yellowing bodies full of black bile and flies and gathered these supplies to the town. And these supplies were the gift of yellow fever to the town of St. Augustine. On your right is the Huguenot Cemetery, built out of a desperate need to bury the more than a third of the population that perished due to the epidemic. The iron bars around some of the grave sites are mass graves, some over 12 people. The church bell usually rings a death toll of silence and respect for those not yet dead. So if you walk or drive by this place and you see apparitions, that could be due to the fact that they died so quickly they do not know they are dead. One such apparition is commonly seen in between the city gates, and she is known as Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth was the gatekeeper's daughter and one of the first victims of yellow fever. Now, shopkeepers are often asked by the young girl in the blue bonnet who greets people into the city. However, we have no such reenactor. So if you stand between those city gates and you feel a heaviness in the air, followed by a cold wind, say hello to Elizabeth if you do.
Beach to the right is the solitary white gravestone of James. Now on that gravestone it is revealed that James died when he was only 5 years old. Local legend had it he was buried quickly here in St. Augustine, and his family was supposed to pick him back up and take him to the family plot. And now James is a permanent resident of our alma mater. Now photographs and videos have recorded a young boy playing both inside our cemetery and our wax museum. And children tend to see the apparition more commonly than adults. Do you see him? Oh, would you be brave enough to play a game with him if he asked you? Really? Well, speaking of bravery, we did have 2 boys over 100 years ago about your age who thought they were brave enough. So one night they decided to debunk the myths by sneaking in, pitching their tents among the gravestones, and trying to sleep with me. They tried fitfully to sleep with an odd noise outside their tent. Now they thought it was a friend just trying to play a trick on them, so they unzipped the tent, peered outside. They saw them. The glowing white female ghost, she was hovering 6 inches above the ground. Her face was obscured, but she had long gray hair cascading down her back. That is terrified me. So they went running out of the cemetery, vowed never to step foot in here again. They found adult they knew and tell the story over and over and over till finally. One night they had a large crowd in the Plaza de Constitucion, and one man stepped out of the crowd and said, "I know who you saw in the cemetery." Now it will repeat that this woman had died. Out of respect for her impending marriage, her family requested she be married in her wedding gown. It all made sense. The glowing light from the wedding dress, the obscured face, the veil, the long gray hair. Now the boys stuck by their story for the rest of their life and vowed never to step foot in our cemetery again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know why these apparitions are here. All we know is that they are here. Now, please watch your hand and step as you follow me to Potter's Wax Museum. Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your hat on this side. We lived it 3 different times and it really hurts if you hit it. Please don't.
They have a Walt Disney.
Done it.
Kind of scared me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you go against all available counter space. Welcome, welcome. Please do watch your head and step as you enter. Hello. Please watch your head.
Elixirs.
You feel free to go against all available counter space. Hello. Please watch your head and step as you enter. Don't worry, we'll go back there. Please watch your head and step as you enter. You feel free to go against all available counter space. This place is restless. When the spies of your brothers see them both here and here. Built this drugstore in 1886. Medicine and medicine technology were just coming out of their primitive origins. Now the bottles on the walls behind you contain concoctions of mostly water, grain alcohol, and opium. However, that pales in comparison to what might still be buried underneath. Now we know this is over the former Talamato Cemetery, but there's a local legend that this is the exact burial spot of the chief Talamato. Now this belief is so widely held throughout town that locals often come in to make sure that the large stone totem of Talamato still has not moved. Now this could explain all the odd activity that started happening when this drugstore was first built. Bottles used to tip themselves off the shelves, smashing to the ground. The glass globes of the gas lamps would often explode overhead, permanently charring the ceilings above. Now this used to happen during embalmings. When an embalmer was preparing a body, something would happen, making them knock over their embalming jars, making some points on the floor shinier than others. Now this building does contain many of the letters and journals that documented the dailies going on here at St. Augustine, for example. Did you know people used to be buried alive? Did you? Can you imagine waking up in your own grave, cold and dark, scratching at the coffin that into your fingernails came out, screaming until death finally came? Now this terrified most people, so from the 1700s to 1800s, this led to multiple patents for something known as the safety coffin. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Top Burger safety coffin. Now the Top Burger safety coffin had a metal tube that led down to the body with a bell attached to the top. Now this bell had a string that attached to the body at multiple points. So if you found yourself lying in your own grave, you could simply ring the bell and be saved by the bell. So they had to hire someone to sit outside the graveyard all night, just in case the bell rang. And this became known as working the graveyard shift. So if you were walking through town and you saw your good friend you buried a week ago, and you were like, I bought them really nice flowers, I don't understand what they're doing here, you could say they were a dead ringer. Now you can't blame me for these puns. First of all, they're scripted, but they actually come from history. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my next story comes from a military journal first published here in St. Augustine in 1823. Now, in 1823, Colonel Joseph Smith was first assigned to walk Castillo de San Marcos, and while there, he met the most beautiful woman in town, and unfortunately for him, she was married. We'll call this coming from inside the house. Now, unfortunately, this woman also died of a high fever a few months after Colonel Joseph Smith and her meeting. Now, being so beloved and lovely, her family requested that she be carried high on a chair, so everyone could gaze upon her lovely face one last time. Now, Colonel Joseph Smith awaited in the crowd, trying not to reveal his true feelings to the woman to anyone. You see, death had taken nothing from her face. And as they passed the chair through the town square, it passed underneath an apopano tree. Now, an apopano tree has thick, thorny branches, and as this chair was passed underneath, one of these thorns did keep scratching to her cheek, and she began to bleed. The dead do not bleed, muttered Colonel Joseph Smith, yet they had sat in the chair next to her grave. Before thinking, the colonel burst through the crowd and said, "Wait! She is not yet gone!" The crowd shrunk back in horror at his audacity, and before anyone could stop him, he knelt to the chair on the ground and gently patted her face. Her eyes fluttered and then opened. He was right. She was still alive. Now, this woman lived here in St. Augustine for another 6 years. And while there, the colonel documented his wild love for her, as well as a sneaking suspicion. You see, around the time of her death in 1830, it was revealed that her husband grew strange plants and dabbled in apothecary practices. And put in a bins of the strange elixirs still contained on the walls behind you. Be what had led to this woman's death, or her living. And did she go to her grave never knowing about the true love that saved her in 1823? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the scratch to the last woman saved her. However, a scratch to these next figures will not save you. So in other words, please don't touch anything. However, shadows have been known to move on their own. So please watch your head and step as you follow me to the chamber of horror. and follow me into the Chamber of Horrors. Welcome to the Chamber of Horrors. Do feel free to come all the way into the space, making room for everyone.
Oh,
Well, you're safer with me than you are in the shadows. You're gonna come right into the stage. Welcome to the Chamber of Horrors. Do feel free to come all the way in, making room for everyone. Not everyone's gonna fit in the back corner, ladies and gentlemen. You're all gonna come right into the stage. Now, once again, do feel free to take plenty of photos of the wax figures, and please not cuddle, touch, or lick them. Yes, it's a real story. Do feel free to come all the way in, don't hide in the shadows. Feel free to take plenty of photos, but please not cuddle, touch, or lick them. Please. Now, any trouble with you coming in. Once again, do feel free to come all the way in space. There's a reason to hide all in the corner. In the meantime, who here likes pirates, huh? No one. I'm sure. Ooh, what was a pirate's favorite letter? R.
C. Because they're in
The C. You know the second favorite letter. Perfect. Well, pirates never necessarily plague the Potter's Wax Museum, but when we have a room as full as this, we just have to use it on a night like this. Especially when we have a story of an actual pirate execution that took place here in St. Augustine in 1684. Now, in 1684, pirates plagued the coast. They often attacked, spent war guides, cat and mouse game, and they took treasure like candy from a babe. Now, this continued for many years until one pirate, Andrew Ranson, was captured just north of the Bay of Ulano Beach, also known as Villain's Beach. Now, Andrew Ranson's men were assigned to hard labor building the Coquina Stone Fort here in town, however, Senor Ranson had a different fate in store. Now, do I have any volunteers to be garroted this evening? Come on up. Please watch your hands stiff. Put your back all the way against this post for me. Thank you. All the way back for me. Now all were gathered in the town square, the townspeople, the clergy, and the governor, all waited patiently to hear the names and cries announced by the executioner.
You have been found guilty of piracy, and you have been sentenced to die on the hook in the town square. I knew that thing was alive. Oh my God! Hole in the post behind the pirate. Ransom showed difficulty breathing. And Andrew Ransom took in a huge breath of air. And the crowd as one gasp and held motionless until a priest stepped forward. And the priest said for everyone to hear, "We have seen a miracle."
We have seen a miracle.
This man is saved.
This man is saved.
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
And the priest helped Andrew Ransom to the steps of the Catholic Church. Everyone gave Ransom a round of applause. Everyone that is except our governor, our royal governor, expected a proper execution. Now, Ransom on the step of the Catholic Church, our governor had little influence. Argue his authority over the church? No, certainly not. Our governor simply left. And Ransom lived in the safety of our Catholic Church here for years. The man actually bargained with the city for his freedom. Ransom was a master stonemason. He would supervise the completion of our beautiful Castillo. And in return, the city gave the pirate his freedom. Oh, you don't care. You're here for the weekend. Andrew Ransom terrorized our city for years. And then, his children's children, 300 years of the man's descendants, they should not even exist.
But for now, the trolley of the doomed, face! Pardon me! Pardon me! Open the door! There we go! Under the way out. There we go. Stop pretty good.
I was a priest to save some gas. Yeah, now you can ask your dad for a reward.
No, I'm Dominic, that's your sticker. Is it? Oh, I got your sticker. You did? How did you not reward back and paint? Reward upon the trolley of the Jews. Welcome.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are rapidly approaching my second stop for the evening, the old jail. Now, the old jail is on the National Registry of Haunted Places and has been visited by taps, ghost hunters, paranormal encounters, and the like. One night, we, the Fort Orange Paranormal Society, spent the night in our old jail and captured this EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Listen closely and tell me what you hear. Any guesses?
Julian?
Now what it says, there are only 8. Listen closely. Now the Port Orange Paranormal Society officers were like, okay, cool, I guess. And then we did more research. See, as it turns out, there were only 8 documented hangings in the St. Johns County Jail. However, hundreds of men died. The upper floor windows were exposed to the elements, mosquitoes, bedbugs, rats. Lice infected the jail and made the men sick. The cells were overcrowded. Upwards of 11 men for a room built for 4. Now, Henry Flagler commissioned this building to look like a hotel at first glance. And the architect who won the bid and designed this jail later went on to build the old Clay County Jail at Alcatraz. This is a very secure prison with the original bars and doors in place. Now, this building was built to contain hate, rage, and anger. And these feelings don't just go away when the men leave. They stain the floors, they linger on the walls, and they hang on the ceiling beams. And now, we're going inside. Now, this is a historic building, and we will be going up one flight of stairs. I do not have an elevator, but I do have accommodation, so if it is an issue, please do let me know.
My buddy. Watch this up. I got the 1, 2, 3.
We are at the old jail. We've actually been here before. We'll probably put a card up in the top, but it wasn't dark out, and we just walked around and looked at things, but they didn't tell us about all this stuff. So now we're about to go in, now that we know all this stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you my last person?
Yes.
All right, guys. I have to go lock the front door, and when I come back, I'll tell you the story about that man with the Kodak picture. I'll be right back, guys. Oh yeah, she did not do that.
I like the back guard.
Oh, he's creepy.
Good. Well, that take care of her. Well. Slap me thrice upside down and give me my mama. Howdy, y'all. My name's Charlie. I said my name's Charlie. Hi, Charlie. I don't know why y'all want to come in here unless somebody dragged you in. especially at night. But now that that guy done brought you in here, I think maybe I just might get my revenge. I'm just kidding, y'all. Whenever one of them motor mouth, Peter Pan talking history folk come in here, they skip all the good parts. But tonight, on behalf of me and my boon companions, I'm going to tell you about all 8 of our hangings, so y'all get to know us personally. Now, we're going to start with that little madman right up there. Now, I seen y'all noticed our big Kodak picture on the wall. That there is Sim Jackson himself just before he swung. Now, he's the one with the flowers in the middle. Now, the big man on the right, that's the sheriff, old Joseph Perry, another madman. Boy, was he angry when somebody took a Kodak picture in the middle of his execution. Of course, most folks think, oh, Sim didn't deserve the flowers or the Kodak after what he'd done to his wife. They had a big argument and it turned into a bloody fight. And nobody knows who swung the first time, but we all know who swung last. Yeah, old Sim, he shut her up quick. What a bloody mess that was. And old Sim, for his final wish for his execution, he decided he wanted to speechify the crowd. And there must have been there 500 folks there that day, and old Sim, he was in grand style. He just yelled out to that audience, he says, "I'm gonna see you all in heaven." Hey, I don't think he made it, though, do you? How sweet the sound to save a wretch like me. Come on, folks, let's go. I send no dilly dally. Y'all coming. Okay, now, you watch yourself on these steps or you'll be one of my stories. Okay, grab on that ring and follow me up. Let's go. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Save the wretch like me. Come on, folks, stay close. Hold on that handrail. Let's go. Okay, now what I want y'all to do is go all the way that cell, all the way down the other end. Just please stay up in the side cell, but just go all the way down, fill it on the other side of that table, both sides. Let's go, folks. All right, come on, ain't no body in there. Much anyway. Now going all the way down, I've got to get everybody in there.
He's gonna lock us in.
Okay. Come on, folks. Don't get it down. Anything more like that. Now I'm going to tell you about a man you best be glad you never meet in the middle of the night. His name is George Hawkins. Now George Hawkins was a man who liked to live in the shadows and duck. A Syrian peddler by the name of Charles Joseph made his living selling cheap jewelry and sprinkler. One night he just rode out town and disappeared in the fog. See, George Hawkins followed him out of town that day, and he just was ducking behind the trees and waiting for just the right moment. And he jumped up in that wagon. Now, not everybody in here was guilty, you know. Please, get out here. You talk out here and you're a good guy. I've been there a week. These fellas is picking on me. Yeah, not everybody deserved what they get. Like Robert Lee, he was innocent. day of my hanging came soon enough, and I wasn't feeling well. Now you read them rules, they supposed to postpone your hanging if you're not in good health. Of course, I don't suppose none of y'all feel too good on the day you're hanging neither. So anyway, I just finally just plumb passed out, and they dragged me unconscious all the way down the step, right down to these gallows. Now, Sheriff said he just wanted to get it over with, and he was going to do it. He said, tell Inspector to hang, and I'm going to give it to him. Now, the only trouble was, he couldn't stand me upright. But that old dog, Sheriff Barry, he strapped me to a board, and there I was, noose high and ready to drop. They pulled the lever, and down I fell. Only trouble is, that board was a last-minute decision, and it was a bad one. But see, the weight of that board broke the rope. I bounced right there, fell right out there. I'm sprawled out there, now I'm awake. I'm laying there, and these people running back and forth, screaming, and the sheriff, he's yelling, "Get me a rope now," I say. And I can't say nothing, because my neck done broke. But I know as soon as they got enough noose, I'd be out of here. Finally, I was going to get out of here. No more time in this place. So I thought anyway. What's that? No, Sheriff Perry, you ain't hanging me again. No way, Peter Pan, you get out of here. No way. No, I'm done, Sheriff, I'm done. No, never.
Oh my goodness, are you guys okay?
Yay!
I'm so sorry about that. I went to go check on something and then I got locked out. David is here though to the rescue, so please watch your head and step and follow me.
Let's hear about it.
Scary. I don't like it.
Who's that person sitting in the middle of them?
I don't know.
So I'm trying to scare him. I actually don't mind it. I'm usually up really early in the morning, so it doesn't matter
It's pretty cool in there. That's
if
the
I
one
don't
thought we
sleep
were
or
going
not tonight because I usually stay up really late. But no, I didn't really mind it too much. I was a little scared and I was holding on to my mom a little bit. That wasn't too much. I'm pretty brave with this stuff. Let's see if we get scared. Alright guys, well that was super fun. We went to the jail. We went to a graveyard, which is really fun. Dom, what was the scariest moment for you?
Probably one of the jail stairs.
What was yours, Jake?
The scariest part when was the guy was walking around the room like crying and banging on walls and stuff.
Oh yeah. One of my scariest parts that actually got me is when the person jumped out from the execution, which Jake was the saver, he was the priest, and my uncle was actually the person getting executed. So it made sense.
I saved my dad.
So overall, I think if you guys are in St. Augustine, you should definitely try it. It was really, really fun, and we had a lot of fun too. So I hope you guys come